I'm Matt Robold, bartender at 320 Main, and one of the questions we get here a lot is why our cocktails or our cocktail glasses happen to be the size that they are. To answer this question, I sat down with Jason Schiffer, the owner of 320 Main, to talk about one of our cocktails, the Bee's Knees. To make a Bee's Knees the 320 way, we start with 2 ounces of Beefeater gin, add 1 ounce of lemon juice, and then add 3/4 of an ounce of homemade honey syrup. We're going to go ahead and make a second one so that we can use it for comparison between how we make our Bee's Knees and how other bars might make theirs. 2 ounces of gin, an ounce of lemon, and finally some honey syrup. We have the mixture poured into 2 clear glasses so that we can plainly see that we've used the same amount of ingredients and have 2 glasses filled to the exact same level. At most bars, your drink will be mixed over ice in the mixing tin. In other words, the ice is added first. Well, what could be wrong with that, you might ask? The problem is now your drink is being exposed to the ice for longer, and it's allowed to pour over more of the surface area of the ice, allowing the ice to start melting faster and adding water to your drink. We shake the cocktail for approximately 10 seconds to get it good and cold and to try to reach the right amount of dilution, regardless of how the drink was originally built. At this point, we'll want to strain the drink out of the shaker, off of the ice, and into a cocktail glass. In this particular case, a 12-ounce cocktail glass. The drink is strained out using what's called a Hawthorne strainer to catch those big chunks of ice, the cubes, and keeping them out of your glass. And as we can see, in this nice 12-ounce glass, we get a lovely bit of space between the top of the drink and the top of the glass. This is called a collar and is useful for transporting the drink from the bar to a table so that your server doesn't spill it. But what if I don't want my drink to look like it has all that empty space at the top? Well, no problem. We can simply take the 12-ounce cocktail glass and pour its contents into an 8-ounce cocktail glass. Note that the collar is completely gone. This glass is completely full. What's interesting about that is that we started off with only 3 3/4 ounces worth of ingredients, and yet we have filled to the top an 8-ounce cocktail glass. That means that we've added over 4 ounces of water. At 320 and other craft cocktail bars, the ingredients are not poured over ice, but rather directly into the tin, with ice added after the fact. This means that rather than the drink pouring over the ice, causing the ice from the top to the bottom to heat up and immediately begin to melt, the ice being added to the drink exposes only the bottom cubes to the liquid, meaning that only the bottom of the ice begins to melt immediately. This is an important difference because by reducing the amount of water that ends up in your drink, we end up with more of an intense flavor to the cocktail than you would otherwise have. Once again, we need to strain our drink out of the shaker and into a cocktail glass, this time into a 5.5-ounce coupe. There's another important difference to how we do this though. Rather than simply using the Hawthorne strainer to catch the big cubes of ice, we also add a basket to create what's called a double strain. And this basket catches all those tiny little shards of ice that have broken off of the corners of the cubes to prevent them from ending up in your drink. Now, why is that important, you might ask? Well, if you look at those tiny little ice chips that Jason's dumping into that other glass, those were supposed to be in your drink as it was made the first time. This means that your drink, with the intense flavor at the beginning, would start to mellow as you continue to drink it, because that ice is melting and continuing to dilute the cocktail while you continue to drink it. So now, your last sip of your cocktail is diluted and flat, whereas the first sip was intense and bright. And that is why at 320 we work so hard to make sure that we keep out that extra 2 ounces or so of water, and to keep that ice out, so that the last sip of your drink is just as good, just as delicious as the first sip of your drink every single time.